Science knows no country because knowledge belongs to humanity and is the torch which illuminates the world. That's Louis Pasteur.
Great quote to start with.
Yeah.
Really sets the stage.
It does. And welcome everyone to the deep dive. We're here again to, well, take a complex issue from the news.
And really dig into it using the source material we have.
Exactly. Today we're looking at something quite significant actions by the U.S. government affecting Chinese students and the tech sector. Our source for this is the Times of India.
A topic with a lot of different angles, definitely.
It really is. So our mission here is to unpack what happened, the reasons given in the source, and crucially, the consequences.
Consequences for universities, the economy.
And very much for the individuals, the students and their families sort of caught in the middle.
Right.
Understanding this is, I think, really important if you're tracking global trends, maybe even for competitive exams, where these international relations issues are key.
Absolutely. It touches on so much.
So where do we start? The source talks about a 1-2 punch from the U.S. administration.
Just as things seem to be calming down a bit with the trade truce.
Precisely. So, punch number 1, a statement from Secretary of State Marco Rubio. The report says he vowed to aggressively revoke visas for certain Chinese students.
Aggressively. That's strong language.
It is. And targeted to those apparently linked to the Chinese Communist Party or studying in, quote, critical fields.
But no specifics on what critical means or how many students.
Exactly. The source highlights that ambiguity, left a lot of people guessing and, well, worried.
Understandably.
Then, almost at the same time, the second punch, new export controls.
Ah, the semiconductor software.
Yes, restricting the sale of software used for designing semiconductors, framed very much as part of that ongoing tech competition.
Okay, so those are the actions. What about the why? What's the rationale presented in the source?
Well, the core idea seems to be this suspicion in Washington.
The idea that Beijing is using academic exchange.
Using students, especially in science and technology fields.
It's a siphon off American tech and research.
That's the phrase used, siphon. So this flow of students, once seen as beneficial,
is now viewed by the Trump administration, according to the report, as a national security vulnerability. A big shift.
A very big shift. And the source includes quotes that back this up. Dinesh Simon, who used to be at Duke Kunshan University.
Right, I saw that quote.
He's quoted expressing concern that Beijing might be using these open U.S. research environments
to basically get around export controls and other security laws.
Yeah. It really captures that change in perspective.
And that change has immediate impacts, doesn't it? Especially for U.S. universities.
Oh, absolutely. The source makes that incredibly clear. Chinese students are the largest group of international students.
Over 270,000 last year, wasn't it?
That's the number cited. And they bring in billions in tuition fees.
Billions? That's not small change for these institutions.
Not at all. Many universities, the source points out, kind of rely on these fees, especially with domestic enrollment shrinking in some places.
And it helps fund research, too, right? Particularly in science and engineering.
Exactly. These students are often concentrated in those very fields.
And the broader economic contribution. International students overall.
Huge. Over $50 billion to the U.S. economy in 2023, with China and India leading. So messing with this flow has big economic ripples.
It sounds like it. The source quoted an immigration attorney, David Leopold.
Yes, calling it potentially cataclysmic for universities.
Catastrophic, even. Mentioning massive economic and cultural impacts. It's not just the money.
No, it's the whole environment. And Jonathan Friedman from P in America added another layer.
About the U.S. image.
Yeah, warning that this could damage the U.S.'s longstanding role as a, beacon for intellectual exchange.
A blow to its global standing, potentially, if the U.S. starts looking less welcoming.
Which brings us to the timing, geopolitically. The source notes this landed awkwardly for President Xi Jinping.
Right, just after that period where Chinese factories were apparently getting back up to speed.
And state media was even talking about a thaw in relations.
Yeah.
This kind of throws that fragile truce into doubt again.
And the semiconductor controls specifically.
Well, China's been investing billions trying to build up its own chip industry, reduce reliance on the U.S.
So restricting design software
is seen as, another shot across the bow in that tech war, as the source puts it. A direct challenge.
And Beijing's reaction. Predictable, I suppose.
Swift and indignant is how the source describes it.
Okay.
Mao Ning, the foreign ministry spokesperson, is quoted hitting back hard.
Calling the visa policy unreasonable.
Yes, and saying it would seriously damage students' rights and disrupt normal exchanges.
Did she say more?
She did.
Yep.
Also argued it exposed the U.S.'s claims about freedom and openness as, well, lies.
Ouch. Trying to turn the tables on the international image front.
Definitely. But beyond the diplomacy, the source really digs into the human side, the impact on students, their families.
That must be immense. The anxiety.
The report paints a picture of, widespread panic and anxiety. For many families, sending a child to study in the U.S. is this huge dream.
A massive investment, financially and emotionally.
Exactly. Years of planning, huge sacrifice, and now this uncertainty hangs over them.
That's tough. Does the source give specific examples?
It does. There's a statistics student named Candy, quoted saying she was just dreading being sent home before finishing,
Oh, wow.
praying to just make it through safely. She apparently said she wanted to curse Trump when she
Wow.
heard really raw emotion there.
You can feel the fear. Any others?
Yes, an 18-year-old Lee Kunze who'd just gotten his visa, his reaction was more like disbelief,
What
resignation,
did he say?
something like, what now? Something new every day. And then, crucially, in the future, if I can avoid going, I will. They make people too scared.
That's powerful. That feeling that the U.S. is becoming scary, unwelcoming.
It is. And another student, Jason Way, an engineering grad student with visa delays, just said, it's up to fate. I can't do anything about it. That sense of powerlessness.
And the source mentioned this adds to existing worries about racism, safety.
Yes, the NYT had reported on those anxieties before, and this seems to have amplified them significantly.
So, with all that fear and uncertainty, what's next? What do the experts in the source predict?
Well, one major prediction is that students and families will start looking elsewhere. Makes sense.
Some places like Singapore, the UK, Canada.
Exactly. Those places are reportedly seeing more interest, or families might just decide to stay in China.
Especially with China investing heavily in its own universities, trying to raise their global profile.
Right. Keep the talent at home, perhaps.
What about retaliation from Beijing? Did Dennis Simon mention possibilities?
He did. Suggested it might be indirect, maybe less cooperation on things like fentanyl control, or maybe restricting rare earth exports.
Things that would definitely hit the U.S.
But there's a counter-argument in the source, too, from Yanzong Hong at the Council on Foreign Relations.
Oh, what's his take?
He basically suggests the U.S. crackdown might be so self-defeating
Damaging its own universities and image.
that China might not even need to retaliate directly. The U.S. actions could, ironically, boost China's image.
Interesting perspective. So, the U.S. potentially shooting itself in the foot.
That seems to be the implication. Ultimately, the source leaves us with this feeling of a closing door.
For those students, that American dream suddenly looking.
Less certain, maybe, as the source puts it, just no longer worth the risk for many.
Wow.
So this deep dive, based on that Times of India reporting, really shows how these big policy decisions,
Rooted in national security concerns.
they connect directly to economics, to academic exchange, and right down to individual hopes and fears.
It's a stark reminder of how interconnected it all is. Global policy, personal lives.
It really is.
And it really does raise that fundamental question, doesn't it? How do you balance national security worries, which might be legitimate,
with the undeniable benefits of global collaboration, open exchange, talented people moving around?
It's a tough balancing act, and this whole situation is a very visible example of that tension playing out.
Understanding these specific dynamics, I think, helps shed light on those broader trends, international relations, economic rivalry, the future of global education. Really crucial context for anyone trying to make sense of the world today.
Definitely relevant.
We really hope this deep dive has been useful for you, whether you're studying these issues closely or just want to stay informed. If you found it valuable, please do give us a like and maybe subscribe to the deep dive.
It helps others find the discussion.
It does, and we're keen to hear what you think. That final thought, perhaps. What are the long-term consequences of moves like this for talent flow, for scientific cooperation globally?
A big question to ponder.
Leave us a comment with your thoughts or any questions you have. We'd love to engage further.
Please do.
Thanks again for joining us on the Deep Dive.